Actually, I thought here, since I'm thinking about it, I thought maybe I would show you a little bit more as far as blank books go, because I made a couple of videos about books of shadows and journaling, and I wrote a blog recently about journaling. So those of you who've been around for a while have probably seen that stuff, but it's something that interests me, so maybe it interests you. So here. I write all the time. I always have, ever since I was little. When I was in the first grade, we were required to keep journals for school. That was our morning activity every single day. We had to take our construction paper journals and we had to write in them. And every month we made a new journal with different colored construction paper, and it was very, very exciting. And that is just a habit that I kept up, and it's really important to me, and it's translated really well into craft stuff because, as many of you guys have realized, documenting your progress with magical things is enormously useful. Most people that I know don't do it. I know a lot of people who strive to do it, and pretty much every book ever published ever on the subject talks about its importance, but if you have never journaled before and you're not in the habit of journaling, or if you are like most people and you're just not particularly inclined to writing, and there's no shame in that, but that's just the reality. Most people don't play football, and most people aren't writers. There's nothing wrong. But if you're not already inclined to those things or not interested, it's very hard to suddenly be like, oh, I think I'll be a magical record keeper now. But given that I am inclined to such things, I tend to be a little bit crazy. So here's some of the craziness. This is my main book of shadows kind of thing. Maybe if I do this. Hang on, hold tight. There, maybe better? Yeah, okay. Oh, Oliver. He's so little. He's like a parrot. Just pretend. Okay, anyway. This is the main book. I've been keeping it for about a year. I purchased the covers from a woman at a festival. She's got an Etsy shop, and I can link it down below before. Actually, a couple of folks that I know from YouTube have her books. And anyway, this is one of her less expensive ones, and what happened was it's post-bound, and I bought the cover off of her. I put in bigger posts and a different kind of paper, and I strung the ribbon through and added some bookmarkers, and it's pretty rad. So anyway, it's very personal, and many things are very embarrassing, so I won't show you specifics. But anyway, it has all the things in it. Here, this is a relatively benign page, right? I do a lot of watercoloring around the edge, and there we go. Yeah, watercolors are my favorite medium, and then I just use black ink for writing. Sometimes I'll do like super exciting things, and I'll make pockets to stick junk in. Some of them are just pretty plain, and it's just me writing. I write a lot, and you can see I have itty bitty handwriting. Stuck in plant leaves, things like that. Did some painting. The paper is thick enough that I've been able to get away with acrylics, which is pretty cool. Let's see. I do a little bit of copying from other books if it's like, oh, this is really cool and I need to write it down now before I forget what book I saw this in. But usually it's only really short things. There have been a couple of instances where I have printed things off, but it's always something that I've written. Like, there are a few pages in here that are the printouts of my letters, my seeker letters to my coven from many years ago, and I printed out our back and forth exchanges before I was allowed to come to Outer Court. So woohoo, book! I figure moving at this rate it'll take me another year to finish, which is kind of agonizing because in addition to being a writer, I also just really love books and journaling and just like touching and having the thing, so I'm really anxious to start a new one. But I'm also anal retentive and have to finish one before I start it. Here's another one I keep. This one, it's just a Moleskine. And for the record, like, I fucking hate Moleskines. I realize that it's like the hipster cool thing, okay, and like, oh, actually it's Moleskine if you want to be pretentious, but I hate them because they fall apart. And it was one thing when they were $14, but now that they're $20, it's just unacceptable. The binding is really shitty, and they can't stand up to a bag for more than a couple of months, and they just suck. They suck. So, fuck you, Moleskine. Anyway, this is a notebook that I use specifically for Coven stuff, and anything that I do with groups. So, the goings-on of my Coven, and then a group that I was with many years ago, all that is in here. A little bit of stuff from Open Rituals, but, when I go to festivals, this is the one that I use for taking notes at, like, workshops and things like that. So, exciting. Let's see, what else? I recently acquired this little thing, which I'm pretty pumped about. This came from an artist in Latvia. Just a little leather book. I like it. They've, the artist watercolored the edges so that it's nice and pretty. Just totally blank pages. I almost always use unlined paper. Unlined is my favorite just because I have such small handwriting that usually when I get lined paper it just looks kind of like exaggerated and comical once I filled up a page because there's just so much space where the lines are. Anyway, I'll probably use this one as... I've been telling myself that I need to be keeping a dream journal again, which is something I did for a while, but I've never been prone to particularly good dreams, and sometimes you just don't want to write about them, so usually I fall into that, and then nothing comes of it, and then it's a nice book gone to waste, because I'm not diligent enough to write about dreams. And then, in addition to those, I keep just a regular, sort of mundane, ho-hum, stick-it-in-my-purse daily journal. This is one, it's just a composition book, and this is actually one I've had laying around since high school, so it's been sitting around for 15 years or so. And I've taken photographs out of magazines that I liked, and I've just sort of collaged them, and then I've covered the whole thing with clear packing tape, which I was really proud of myself for figuring out. Probably everybody knew that, but it was news to me. And anyway, that's a nice way of decorating a notebook while also giving it some extra protection, and it lasts forever. Like I said, this notebook is almost 20 years old. And it's just daily, mundane stuff. I hate my professors, my classmates said this to me, and I have this homework due and I don't want to do it, and blah 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 blah, some boy doesn't like me, whatever. I try to write like 2 or 3 pages every day. That was actually the most useful thing that I got out of Christopher Penczak's Inner Temple of Witchcraft when I read it for the first time, however many years ago. One of the first things he tells you is that you should keep a journal and write 3 pages every day. And if you shoot for 3 pages, you'll be surprised at yourself how much you have to say. And I found that that's very much the case. So, anyway, this has been a good thing. I doodle in it too. But yeah, so journaling, books, hooray. Like I showed you in the last video, this one, and I can tell that my mother bought this at the Michigan Renaissance Festival, and I don't remember the book dealer, but I've used his journals before. Anyway, it's cotton paper, and books like this are nice. I'm really excited. So, I prefer leather, unlined, acid-free, unrecycled paper, just because it lasts and is stronger and takes ink better. Recycled paper always sucks from, anyway, past experience. So, yes, that is all. So, they're all my books and journals, and some of my favorite videos are ones where other people show their books and their writing. And anyway, so I would welcome any sharing or video responses. But in the meantime, I hope you guys are well. Again, happy holidays, and I will see you next time.